Welcome to CG Design, where we make a 3D object to show you how it's done. We'll make a weapon called the Tracer, suggested by subscriber Brian Poe. Christian Lowe, PlayStation Underground's interface designer, will shape it for us using 3D modeling software 3D Studio Max. First, he selects the tube tool and creates the inner radius, then the outer radius. Then he selects the outer points of the object and scales them down to create the sharp edge. To make the handle, he uses the line tool to rough out an S shape. Then he smooths it out. He adds depth by beveling the edges. Then he takes that image and cuts the blade shape in half to make a weapon that can separate in two. He'll repeat this to create the other half. He inserts the handles and chooses the texture. Now he uses a graphic file to create a design pattern on the blade. The dark areas become indented and the white portions become raised. The final model renders out. This is how a game developer makes an object for your PlayStation. Watch for this weapon somewhere else in our issue. Is there a 3D robot, weapon, car, or object you'd like to see? Send a drawing or suggestion to this address and we might just use it for a future CG design.
In the level Papu's Pyramid of Crash Team Racing, there's a hairpin turn at the end of the level that you can totally bypass by using this shortcut. Take a look. Keep in mind you're either going to need an Aku Aku or Uka Uka mask or a turbo boost to make it. Once you get the mask, save it for here. Right at the end of the wall, activate your mask and do a 180 turn over to the other side of the track. So there it is.
I had the vision of the art style and world that I wanted. I shared it with the artists and they kept bringing back incredible finished work, even better than I had imagined.
The level of quality of the art was so high and we fell in love with it.
Asebi-san, the director, asked us to create a more natural, organic look as opposed to mechanical or technical.
cool move I'm going to show you today is the corkscrew turn from Laguna Seca on Gran Turismo 2. Basically, the corkscrew turn is one of the hardest turns to execute. What you need to do is approach it towards the right-hand side or more the outside lane. Slow down, shift it to a lower gear, and drop down, and you can cut a little bit without being penalized for taking that turn. So give it a shot.
It's the best-selling racing video game of all time. What will it be like when it runs on the PlayStation 2, a console 10 times more powerful than anyone out there now? This is Gran Turismo 2000, the next game in the Gran Turismo series produced by Kazunori Yamauchi. Recently, he gave PlayStation Underground an exclusive interview on his plans to take advantage of the new console. Although early in development, he hinted at a whole new level of video gaming.
This time out, we hope to change the way people enjoy racing games. There'll be something new in the entertainment experience and how users are part of the game. I'd like to say more, but the exact details are still being set. The biggest difference is that the PlayStation 2 will let us make the graphics and sound quality 100 times better. I want to create racing that's even more realistic than the racing you see on TV. For the first time, we can have open cars so you can see the driver. Perhaps you'll be able to choose your own helmet and racing suit. I plan to increase the number of cars, adding 5 to 10 for each territory: Europe, Japan, and North America. I might include the new Corvettes and new Camaro. There are many cars I'd like to add, but gamers should understand it takes a tremendous amount of negotiations to license a car from its maker. If you don't see your favorite car in the game, it's not because I didn't want it. Would it help if gamers wrote to manufacturers of cars they'd like to see in the game? Yes. Along with the new cars, I would like to add maybe 5 to 10 new courses, including dirt tracks and the drag racing mode. The PlayStation 2 gives us the power to change the weather as well as the time of day for each course. This will add lots of variety. We also now have the opportunity to develop a more advanced artificial intelligence. We want the computer-driven cars to react to what you do with an almost human emotion. If you cut one of them off, that driver might show his anger by racing harder against you. Or he might spin and get scared, and you would feel it. I can't go into more details just yet. Another new factor is the PlayStation 2's new DualShock 2 analog controller. It registers 256 levels of pressure sensitivity. We're experimenting with this and hope to use it for a more subtle control of braking. In GT1, we needed to have anti-lock braking. That's not as realistic as what we can now achieve. Gamers always ask me if car damage will ever be visible. The manufacturers don't want their cars to blow up or be battered. I feel the same way, so that will not change. But I hope to create some effect that shows the user the extent of any damage.
Plans have been announced for PlayStation 2 to be supported by a broadband network in 2001. We wondered what effect this might have on the Gran Turismo series.
I have a vision of Gran Turismo's network racing. It's much bigger than one-to-one, but I can't go into specifics yet. One thing a network could do is let racers share times and establish rankings. This is a very important part of racing games. But in addition, a network could let them share communication on how to take certain corners or courses. That is very important to me as well.
Gran Turismo is fulfilling a love for cars that Yamauchi-san has had ever since he was a boy. Now in developing the series, he gets to travel the world and test its greatest cars on its most famous tracks. But he's made a discovery.
Playing the video game has improved my real race driving versus the other way around. Just 2 days ago, I was on the circuit at Motegi in Japan, and I realized that my performance had improved drastically because I played Gran Turismo 2.
You better keep sharpening your own racing skills because when you drive Gran Turismo 2000 on the PlayStation 2, it's a whole new level of power and intensity. Do you have the reflexes to cut it? If you think golf is boring, prepare to see it with a whole new swing. To break away from the standard golf game, Sony Computer Entertainment brought out Hot Shots Golf in 1998 and Hot Shots Golf 2 this year. Even if you've never touched a club before, you can just jump in and have fun. The pace is fast, the characters are comic, and the load times are history.
そうですね、
We wanted to come up with a video game that felt so good it would inspire people to try real golf who would otherwise never think of playing.
Yet the Hot Shots Golf game engine also lets the serious golfer work with all the game's finer points, such as course conditions, wind, and spin. The balance was just right. Hot Shots Golf was named Sports Game of the Year by 2 magazines, topping all the major sports like football and basketball.
Oh my goodness, that's on the green!
Now the sequel takes that successful game engine and makes golf even more entertaining. The team in Japan explains.
Holy cow, nice shot!
行くたびに
I love golf. I get our whole team to play together. We try to figure out what makes real golf feel so good so we can put it into the video game.
楽しいのはまず
We want you to feel how great it is to hit a tee shot 250 yards and how good it feels to sink a putt.
The art staff wanted the courses to be more beautiful than ever.
例えばですね、
You can now control 4 different seasons for each of 7 courses.
That ball was thirsty!
今回のはその曲げ玉がすごく
There are also many more obstacles than in the first game. You have to think about your second shot before you hit your first.
曲げることを
You need to use draws and fades more. They're easier to hit than in the first game.
今回は2では、
Another thing we added is a short par 3 course. It lets you get in some shooting and putting when your time is short.
逆に避けるために
Golf games were once so serious. People ask, was it a risk to add humor? I don't think so. Not to add humor would be a risk. We need to reach more than just hardcore golfers and bring new players to the game.
On the world's golf courses, they'll never know what hit them. Hot Shots Golf 2. Golf for the people.
Hey there, get a load of my new floating studio. Hey, Mr. Producer, what do you think of the view?
I wouldn't know since you told management there wasn't room for a control booth in the blimp.
Oh, that's right. It's good to be queen.
Can we please get started?
No problemo. On our last journey to Japan, we stopped by the Sony Computer Entertainment Building to check out the new Legend of Dragoon game. Wait till you see the footage we brought back. Then it was off to the green to interview the developers of Hot Shots Golf 2. We'll talk about how they made an already great game even better. Wrestling fans are really gonna love this issue. We hung out with the WWF great, D'Lo Brown, to get some hot tips on how to smack down your opponent both in the ring and on your PlayStation. Most people think that being a gaming journalist means sitting on your butt all day. Well, we gave some lucky members of the press a chance to get out from behind their word processors and into the paintball arena. Check out the event center to see these guys in action.
Yeah, that was lots of fun. You know you weren't supposed to be aiming at people's heads, right?
Hey, you mess with the ball, you get the horns. Besides, if you didn't stand up every 5 minutes to ask, "Are we done yet?" you wouldn't have gotten shot so much.
Yeah, but I was on your team.
Okay, moving on. As always, we have a fine selection of the hottest game videos in the vault, including Spider-Man, MTV Music Generator, and Siphon Filter 2. So if you didn't get them for Christmas, they're probably on sale somewhere.
Don't forget about Wormhole.
I'm getting to it. For the past 7 issues, you've seen us go behind the scenes of video game development and put together our own game, Project Wormhole. We're finishing off this section by putting the complete demo, including level editor, in the vault. So go check it out! Well, that does it for me. I'll see you all next issue with my footage from PlayStation 2 launch in Japan and my E3 report. Until then, happy gaming!
They're some of the biggest names in video game journalism. 989 Studios has pulled them from behind their computers and brought them to a remote ex-CIA training facility in the Arizona desert.
The information that we put out here is real. We have trained over 130 SWAT teams from the United States, Canada, Spain, Taiwan, Kenya, a lot of other places.
For the next few hours, they'll enter the world of Gabriel Logan so that they can bring you more informative reviews of Siphon Filter 2. They've come to a fantasy camp specializing in covert operations and hostage rescue, run by 2 people who've done the real thing.
What we're going to be doing here this afternoon, we're going to be doing some exercises involving SWAT-type tactics, where you'll be doing some hostage rescue, some barricaded suspect-type things.
A hostage has been taken. The rescuers plan a counterattack.
We're going to require 3 entry teams. There will be 3 doors to be hit, so there will be 3 5-man teams or entry teams. The other 2 5-man teams are going to be our reconnaissance element.
Weapons have been distributed. The training is over and now it's into the field. They're going to move in and risk life and limb, or at least serious bruising, to rescue the hostage. And you thought their job was just playing video games. Luckily, they have better aim on the video game screen than they do in real life. Finally, they storm the building and rescue the hostage. Now that your adrenaline is pumping, you can prove that you're a better commando than they are by checking out the Siphon Filter 2 demo in the vault. But give them credit, the next time you think video game journalism is easy, ouch! Think again. Ouch! Japan, where peace and tranquility are treasured values. Except when it comes to video games, PlayStation 2 has unleashed a whole new level of power and speed. That's why gamers lined up for this long-awaited special festival in late February. PlayStation Underground is taking you inside to see what the games of the new computer entertainment system are like and to talk with developers. At 60 frames a second instead of 30, everything's way more intense. In Street Fighter EX3, for example, you can even fight 2-on-2.
PlayStation 2's extra processing power lets you start with one character's combo, then switch to another's. 4 characters can be in on the same fight.
Another difference is that more detail can go into the graphics, as in these scenes from Onimusha. Are you watching real baseball on TV, or is this the new game from Square?
When you look at a title, sometimes you take a double take and you say, wait, is that the FMV section or is that the game? There's actually a really, really close comparison in quality between the two.
In Kessen, a real-time strategy game, you can move hundreds of soldiers at once, but each of them will think and act individually, creating lots of realism. RPGs like Dark Cloud can be fully 3D, and you can explore with 360 degrees of freedom.
Three, two,
Everything in Ridge Racer 5 looks more realistic, including the walls you're almost crashing into at 200 miles per hour. Backgrounds in Tekken Tag Tournament are now full of action and new detail. The sky fills with fireworks in Fantavision, a new action puzzle game.
You can set up hundreds of explosions at a time, and the PlayStation 2 calculates and displays them in real time. We could not have done this before.
When you're being hunted down for lunch and extermination, all the new detail makes it easier to get that tingly feeling at the base of your spine. And the new console's larger memory opens up huge new worlds, as in this new Border Cross game.
You're racing head-to-head against 7 other players that you couldn't have done before the PlayStation 2. Basically, anything you see that looks like snow, you can go there.
How are gamers reacting?
I loved how fast the snowboard game was. It felt totally real.
I was blown away by the quality of the games.
The emotions of the characters are very well done. They're really human.
This is just the first hint of what games will be like in the next generation of computer entertainment. Stay tuned, our next issue will reach you in June, just after E3, with updated PlayStation 2 footage direct from the show floor. See you then!
In Spyro 2, there are a couple tricky points. One is the Fracture Hills level where you have to save Spinner's friend. Right here, I'm going to go ahead and show you a really cool move on how to unleash your friend from behind the door. Hold down the square button to reach this super speed power-up right here, because the object here is to follow this pathway and through the various doors, and you can't stop or get hit once, because if you do, you lose the super speed power-up and you have to start over again. Go through that portal there, and over this little narrow bridge, and jump at the last second right here and break down the door. And her friend will be right there for you.
Oh, thank goodness you broke that door down.
Once you save Spinner's friend, you'll get an orb. Now that you've seen it on video, good luck.
In my job, I get a lot of calls from customers on Siphon Filter, level 14, the Stronghold Catacombs. In this level, you have to follow a scientist to the cell where Fagin is being held. And there are a few things you must not do in this level if you're going to complete it successfully. You got to only use your silenced weapons in this level. It's very important to go down the left-hand corridor here. There's a right-hand corridor, but it'll just lead you around in circles. Then you set about following the scientist. One of the most important things about this level is to let the scientist get a good head start on you, because you're going to trigger certain enemies along the path. If you have to take those enemies out and the scientist can see what's going on, you're going to lose the level because he'll be alerted to your presence. So as you see here, I'm taking out the guards while the scientist is safely out of sight and out of earshot. Now this is where a lot of people slip up on this level. The scientist stops and talks to 2 guards down at the end of the hall. We'll look here through the sniper rifle viewer. It's very important that these 2 guards are not killed. I repeat, not killed. If you kill these 2 guards, just about anything you do after that, it won't matter. You're going to lose. The scientist remains down at the end of the hall and is close enough that the murdered guards do in fact alert him to your presence. Even if it doesn't end the level immediately, you will not be able to end the level when you reach the door. So instead of killing the 2 guards, we're going to sneak down the hallway. And I do stress sneak. You must hold down the X button and move slowly. Now these guys aren't too bright. They're a little drowsy because you can get this close and then just go down the right-hand corridor and they never see you. And those guards won't give you any more trouble as long as you don't double back this way. Through the rest of the level, you're just going to have to take out anybody in your path quietly without the scientist around. And this guard here around the corner, the last guard you're going to need to take out in this level, can be very tricky. What I always try to do is peer around the corner to get him on my radar. You can now see the green dot moving towards me on my radar, and I can level my gun and take him out as he comes around the corner. And if everything goes right, you'll never even see the scientist at the door, because it'll fade to black, and you'll see a movie clip. This is a cool move for Siphon Filter, level 15, Farcom Warehouse. In this level, you have to locate viral carriers and tag them. And I talked to a surprising number of people who can't seem to figure out how to tag the viral carriers. When you get the first checkpoint, when you find Erickson, you do find a viral scanner. To locate the bodies, equip your viral scanner, and then go press the L1 button, so you'll look through the viral scanner. Now there's a body, we've located it, but as far as tagging it goes, you absolutely positively must turn off the scanner. And then go to where you saw the body, stand on top of the crate, and simply press the triangle button, thereby tagging the body, obtaining a checkpoint, and one of the objectives of the game. And that's how you scan a viral carrier in Siphon Filter, level 15, Farcom Warehouse.
Logan, the following is an operational briefing designed to maximize your effectiveness in the field. Pay attention, and it may save your life. Use your on-screen HUD to keep track of enemy movements and evaluate potential threats. Your health meter indicates how much strength your flak jacket has remaining. When the bar starts to flash red, your flak jacket is completely gone, and you'll start taking damage directly. At this point, 2 or 3 bullets will kill you, so proceed with extreme caution. The targeting meter helps you measure your ability to hit your enemy. The meter appears when you have locked on a target. The better your chance of making the shot, the higher the meter gets. When the bar is completely full, you're guaranteed to hit. Increase your chances to hit by getting closer to your target, crouching, or facing him more directly. Likewise, your danger meter represents the likelihood of your being hit. When the bar begins to flash red, you are about to be shot. Take evasive action immediately. The radar shows the location of all known enemies relative to your current position. The color of the dots represents that enemy's threat level. If it starts to flash red, kill the target immediately or find cover. Note, only enemies you've seen or heard will appear on the radar, so always keep your eyes open. Just because the radar does not show targets does not mean you are alone. It's imperative that you keep a full clip and a round chambered at all times. Refer to the weapon icon on screen. The left number is how many rounds remain in your clip. The right number is your total rounds for that weapon. Press triangle to reload if you're getting low. You don't want to run dry in the middle of a firefight. By pressing the start button, you can pause the action and access your HCD. Here, you'll be able to check your current objectives, scan area maps, equip weapons, and review mission briefings. You'll also be able to change game options and save your current progress to a memory card. Note, when you save your progress during an active mission, if you choose to resume that saved game at a later date, you'll continue from your most recently completed checkpoint. In battle, you have to use your weapons effectively in order to survive. Standard operating procedure for combat scenarios include the following. To change weapons, hit the select button. This will cycle through most of your arsenal. To get a complete list of your equipment, hold the select button down and use L2 or R2 to manipulate the weapon bar. Alternately, you can pause the action by hitting start and equip yourself from your HCD. Hold R1 to target lock a specific enemy. If you tap it again and hold, you'll target lock the next nearest enemy. Target locking helps you focus on a specific enemy and allows you to aim and shoot at them while performing other actions. Hold L1 to manually aim your weapon. Use this function to look around your environment or to target specific areas of an enemy's body. Note, different weapons yield different results when aiming. Most sniper rifles allow you to magnify your view while aiming. Press triangle and circle to zoom in and out while aiming. Strafe by holding L2 or R2. If you're good, you can also use the directional button at the same time to maneuver through any tight spots. While manually aiming, use these buttons to peek around corners. With a grenade equipped, your aiming cursor indicates where the grenade will land when thrown. While aiming, press and hold the fire button and an arc appears. This represents the arc that the grenade will travel when thrown. The longer the fire button is held, the greater the arc. Release the fire button to throw the grenade. Occasionally, you'll encounter enemies who pick their shots more carefully. When one of these snipers takes aim at you, you'll be warned. The word headshot will appear with a line pointing toward you. If you see this, immediately take cover. Bear in mind, when in the field, you may encounter hostile fire from civilian forces. Law enforcement agencies can misconstrue your actions and may impede your mission. You should always try to find a non-lethal solution in these situations. Failure to adhere to this mandate will not be tolerated. You do not have a license to kill. In the field, you'll encounter many obstacles. Here is a complete list of the actions you can perform to achieve your objectives and complete the mission. Hold the X button to crouch. While crouching, you can use the directional button to move in a crouching walk. Staying low is often key to avoiding enemy detection. It keeps you deathly silent, and you can sometimes hide behind terrain to avoid being seen. Also, while crouched, your aiming ability is increased dramatically. Hit the circle button to roll. This is an excellent defensive maneuver that temporarily reduces the enemy's ability to hit you. Pressing the triangle button allows you to interact with the environment. Use it when standing near computers, weapon crates, lockers, switches, etc. You'll know if an item can be used when a callout appears above it. Holding the X button when standing near a ledge will allow you to lower yourself into a hanging position. From this position, you can use the directional button to shimmy left or right, climb back up, or drop down. To jump or climb to higher elevations, hit the triangle key when standing below a ledge. In some areas, you can jump laterally from one ledge to another. To accomplish this, just run forward off the edge and you'll automatically catapult through the air to land on the other side. In some areas, you can crawl through heating ducts. First, remove the duct's covering by shooting it. Then use the triangle button to pull yourself into the duct. Once inside, use the directional button to maneuver normally. You can walk by applying slight pressure to the left analog stick. Walking automatically prevents you from falling off ledges and makes you move silently. You can also walk while wearing disguises by holding the X button. If you ever spot a security camera, stay out of its field of view unless it's turned off. Alternately, you can use an electronics kit to disable the camera. Occasionally, you will find yourself in areas that are pitch black. At these times, you'll automatically equip your night vision goggles. In dark areas, enemies will have a harder time spotting and shooting you, so use this to your advantage by keeping your distance and killing silently. A few closing words of advice. If you're outnumbered, run. If you're unnoticed, sneak. And if you've got the shot, take it. Make yourself an easy target for your enemies, and you'll wind up dead. Nine, 8, 9. Studio.
Today I'm going to show you one of the coolest areas in Twisted Metal 4. The level is Neon City. There's a really cool secret area in this level that you can get a lot of weapons and power-ups, but it is hard to get to. Let me show you how it's done. Basically what you want to do is look for the train tracks and follow it all the way up the tunnel, just like this. Collect the power-ups on the way up. When you get to the top, slow down a little bit, collect the health, and turn around. Look for that little warp point, and just go forward. See this ramp right here? What you want to do is you want to turbo off this ramp into the room on the other side. Now that you're in this hidden room, what you want to do is you want to face this wall right here. Move forward and on top of the helicopter launch pad. Now the helicopter will pick you up, will start taking you to a hidden area. On your way, shoot all the enemies below you. Once the helicopter's dropped you off, move forward into the secret area. Collect all the weapons and power-ups here. When you've gotten all the power-ups, go to the jump pad to exit the secret area. And that's how it's done.
start getting butterflies in you because you're getting ready to go out in front of 20,000 people. You're thinking about what you have to do tonight, but also you're thinking, I don't want to mess up. I don't want to fall on my face when I walk out the ramp. And then I want to make sure I go out there and entertain every one of them.
Gonna kick this sorry ass out on the street.
I think wrestling is very entertaining. It's an outlet. It's drama for male, you know, like a soap opera for males.
There's not a more natural high in the world than hear your music hit. You can hear their screams and applause in your body. You can feel it inside of you. Not just mentally feel it, but physically feel it bouncing off your chest and bouncing off you. And when you're walking down, you're looking at each, you know, you can almost make contact with each one of them eye to eye.
What we're trying to deliver with SmackDown is the ultimate gaming experience in sports entertainment.
It's very fast moving as compared to other games where it's very slow. The graphics are really cool. That looks real. See, the moves are very realistic looking.
One thing that sets our game apart from the other competition is our gameplay and our button commands. We don't want to have to push 20 buttons to get a move off. We want a beginner to be able to pick up the game and get into the game and pull off moves. But at the same time, we want the more experienced player to be able to master the reversals and master the game itself.
When you're out there in the ring, it's not as easy as it looks. For example, probably the hardest one is Steve Austin's stunner because it comes from 14 different directions. I mean, you could be on the offense and all of a sudden, boot to the gut, there it is. Probably the most embarrassing, people's elbow, because you're just laying there forever, and then all of a sudden this elbow comes out of nowhere. And well, Kane, Big Boss Man, and Taker all use a choke slam, and that's just a big hand wrapped around your throat. The name definitely describes the move. So these are some of the moves you watch out for, and just as scared as hell to take.
One thing that we got in the game that no one else has done before, the season mode. You go through all the major events and pay-per-views, and at the end, you'll hit WrestleMania. Along the way, you'll make friends and foes and enemies. You can fight in the kitchen, the boiler room, anywhere you want to go, and anything can happen at any time. You can make decisions whether or not to team with a partner, and you don't just go to them, they come to you. Another thing that we have, create a wrestler/superstar mode, in which you can go in and create anyone you want. You can create wrestlers, superstars from around the world, you know, different looks, different masks, and also attributes, entrances.
Oh, you didn't know? Your ass better call somebody.
It really captures the drama, the excitement of the WWF. We really want to bring the person inside the ring, you know, this is the closest thing we can do to that. Like I said, we're all fans making games for the fans, and I think the real fans can tell.
You're always in that quote-unquote zone when you're out there in the ring. For example, when I climb up for my frog splash. The people then go from being on like Decibel 1 to like screaming Jet, and there's nothing in the world that can stop you from hearing it. It's like me winning the NBA title at a Super Bowl every night of the year.